Hey Pacific Keep Church, this is Pastor Boris. I wanted to ask you this question. Why do you think the church exists? Before we can talk about how we do church, whether we meet Sundays or weeknights, or how we do small groups or how we do outreach, the most important question we have to ask is why? And we think there are three reasons for the existence of the church. Number one is to proclaim that Jesus Christ is Lord, that Jesus came in a flesh, lived a normal life, suffered and was killed, and then was resurrected. Therefore, we are people of resurrection. We live in this corrupted and broken and sinful world full of pandemics and troubles and tribulations with the end in mind of resurrection, so we live with hope. Number two, we believe in the Great Commission. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, teaching them to obey what I have taught you and baptizing them. The word go means to literally exist in the world in a certain way. It's not just about going on a missionary trip when you're in high school. It's about going to your job if you're a construction worker and being the light of Jesus there. And number three, the great commandment, which is to love our neighbors as ourselves, and more so to even love those who we would consider our enemies. Now we can get to the question of how. If we're going to be honest, 2020 has shattered how we do things just in life in general. Traditionally, church used to meet in a building. It was based on a spot we all gathered in worship to listen to a sermon, to do worship together, and to be involved in a few missional opportunities that the pastors or the staff provided for us. But we believe we're now moving into a different season based on what we've called Microchurch. This is an idea that's not ours, but we like the sound of it because it's not based on a building, but it's based on a network of relationships. A microchurch is friends gathering together, anywhere from 3 people up to 12, 15 people who gather weekly around worship, community, and then this is where it gets a little bit different, mission, meaning they together through prayer ask God, what do you want us to do in the world to proclaim your name in our city? We've tried this for the last 8 months. We have about 6 microchurches right now. We've had some great creative ideas come forth. Some microchurches have taken the cause of single moms and their troubles and suffering, and they've helped them out with clothing and food and classes to educate and to provide resources. Other microchurches have adopted people who are poor in their microchurch and have taught them how to do daily things like opening up a bank account, figuring out how to set boundaries, and we've had a few of these people get baptized recently. Microchurches are showing us that the creativity around mission goes way beyond the couple of volunteer opportunities that the traditional church has provided for their congregations. And we are excited about what God is doing. So here's our vision for 2021 moving into the new year. Number one, we'd like to launch more microchurches. We have about 6 right now. We'd love to see 60 in the next 5 years. Number two, we would love to see 300 more people who don't know Jesus be discipled through these microchurches. And then also very importantly, number three, we'd like to focus our big gatherings. Meaning that right now we are meeting on Thursdays and we'd like to offer those big gatherings to focus on 3 things: worship of Jesus, teaching and preaching of the word, but also to hear testimonies of what's been going on in these microchurches as they launch for mission. What we've heard from people though is Thursday nights have been tough to get together because of work schedules and things like that. So we are looking to do it on a different day, probably Sunday in the afternoon or in the evening. And so we've put together a little survey for you. Some of you have been to our annual meeting on Thursday last night, and some of you have been to our 2 Zoom calls where we discussed all of the ideas. If that's you, we'd love to hear more from you, so please fill out the short survey that we've attached to this video. If you haven't been to one of those meetings, this video is a quick summary of what we're hoping for and dreaming for 2021, and we ask you to read through this short survey, leave us your feedback, and we're going to collect all of this information. Take the vision God has given us, working together to craft something that will work together for our community, and then move forward into 2021.